Well, this is hilarious and sort of brutal for MAGA Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene. You might remember, I don't know why you would, but if you remember this, it's a thing that happened. Marjorie Taylor Greene released a book called MTG. And there's two phases to this story. The second is the funniest part, which is reading reviews on this book, even from some of her own supporters, purportedly, that are so rough for her. So that's awesome. We'll get to that. But first, there's some interesting reporting about how either she's not following the ethical procedures in Congress by reporting income she's making, and that could get her into trouble. That's one option. Or a very likely option, this book flopped so hard, underperformed so badly, that she didn't even make enough money on it to be required to report that she made income on it to Congress. So here's the reporting from the Daily Beast. Let's see. Is MTG's book such a flop she hasn't made a dime from it? Is the title. MAGA firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene appears to have recently skipped reporting any income from the book she published late last year, stepping into an ethical gray zone. And again, I just want to say, stick around for the review part. That's my favorite part of this, but you need the context first. But people were ruthless in responding to reading this book. The memoir, entitled MTG, details the Congresswoman's time in Washington and was published by Winning Team Publishing, a company founded by Donald Trump Jr. and Sergio Gore, who insiders know as the mayor of Mar-a-Lago. By the way, the memoir entitled MTG, your life has led you to a really strange place, and I think you should do some introspection. If you find yourself, unironically, giddy about purchasing the memoir, MTG. Something went wrong if that's where you find yourself. The company Hawks Books talks about this organization that Donald Trump Jr. founded to sell these books. And in a statement to the Daily Beast, Greene's office suggested that's above board. Congresswoman Greene's book agreement was reviewed and approved by the House Ethics Committee. And in 2023, there was no financial activity that required reporting. That could only be true if Greene received virtually no royalties for book sales in 2023, since the Ethics Committee instruction guide stipulates that members must disclose ownership interest in intellectual property worth more than $1,000 or that earned more than $200 of income. It is certainly possible, the Daily Beast writes, that Greene's memoir didn't sell well enough to make money last year. So it may have flopped so badly that she didn't even make enough money to be required to report that she made money off of this book. And she was pushing it hard. Tons of interviews I saw her advertising. I tried to minimize how often we had to hear her say those parts of the interview to not give her free publicity, but she definitely was selling it hard. And you have Newsweek reporting too on Marjorie Taylor Greene's book is a flop. And the part that I find most interesting is them citing people's thoughts on the book. Look at this. Quote, I was a huge supporter of MTG and voted for her 2 times, but this book is garbage. A 2-time voter of MTG thinks the book is garbage. Someone else said, the only thing in this book that is truthful is her name. Was going to buy it for family for Christmas, but glad I read it first. Someone else said, I saw my neighbor throwing this book into the trash and asked him if I could read it first. Boy, what a boring mistake. This book is far from any reality and full of imaginations. Don't waste your time. America First, printed in Canada, filled with lies, reads yet another 1-star review. Another reader joked that the book had nothing to do with Magic the Gathering, an iconic game which shares the same initials. Oh, one of those purchases was an accidental one, as the Georgia Congress woman. Let's see. It talks about how this didn't even perform as well as Ted Cruz's Unwoke book, which is just such a ridiculous idea. And then I have this one for you that puts it very nicely. Full of nonsense and lies, it reads like a 16-year-old's journal with opinions and no deeper thoughts or proof of anything argued. The cited sources in the back are Facebook posts and Fox News. Imagine that. In the back of the book, I'll be citing my sources. Facebook posts and Fox News. That, I feel like Marjorie Taylor Greene is sort of the human embodiment. She's the human manifestation of Facebook posts and Fox News. You put those together, put into human, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene. The only line of truth in this book, the review continues, I found is on page 180. We're always on the defensive, MTG said, and we're losing. Let's look at who's beating us. First, You've got Biden himself. She said that. She admitted it. Wow. The amount of projection is astounding. For example, page 250, people are beside themselves, angry that there's a criminal sitting in the White House who has no business being there or having even gotten elected in the first place. On Trump, however, convicted of rape and fraud and facing 91 charges, she says, I was in awe of President Trump. So 2,549 people found this helpful. This was a popular review. So it seems, even as I showed you with the first review, even people who like Marjorie Taylor Greene for some reason, can you imagine? Yeah, Marjorie, said this book is trash. And then especially if you understand how dishonest she is, and it probably is trash, reads like a 16-year-old's journal, as this person said, then I can't imagine how painful it is to read. But there's a reason that is not selling well, that maybe it's selling so poorly that she doesn't have to even report making income off of it. And it's because the reasons that people support her, the reasons that she's liked within the MAGA world, are not reasons that you can sort of synthesize into a book, right? For some wild reason, MAGA folks like seeing this from Marjorie Taylor Greene. And how do you put this into a book?
In that room? No, absolutely not. I mean, everything I said is correct. It's how the American people feel. It's what we know to be a fact. It's all the evidence has been proven true. We have Jamie Raskin in there accusing us of worshiping Trump, worshiping as a convicted felon. He is a convicted felon. Well, yeah, so is George Floyd. And everybody, and you all too, the media worship George Floyd. Democrats worship George Floyd. There were riots burning down the country over George Floyd, and Raskin is in there saying we worship him. Excuse me, let me correct you, and this is really important. I don't worship, I worship God. God. And Jesus is my savior. I don't worship President Trump. And I'm really sick and tired of the annex I have to deal with constantly from the Democrats. So that's what we just went through in there. And then they're sitting there, they can attack my character all day long. What's his face in there? Whoever was talking last was calling me insane. But yet we can't say, oh, they're attacking my character. Oh no, it's nonstop BS and annex. You want to know why?
I know what you're thinking. She's now said that word that always makes Luke respond twice. And you're saying, Luke, make a joke about how she pronounces the word antics. No. I'm not going to go there today. I'm not. Why does she say annex every time she's trying to say antics? I don't find that relevant to the conversation we're having. Okay.
Democrats don't have anything. They're responsible for the lockdowns, forced vaccinations, kids being forced to stay home, people committing suicide, and all the horrors that this country lived through during COVID. Fauci belongs in prison. He should be tried for mass murder, and he should be tried for crimes against humanity. That's how I feel after that hearing. That's how the American people feel.
Every time I watch it, a member of Congress, what? But if you've been so duped by the MAGA nonsense, and you feel so upset about these same issues and conspiracy theories, then it feels, I guess, it's something you resonate with to see her this angry about this type of stuff and screaming at Fauci, I'm going to put you in prison if I have anything to say about it. Which, how does a member of Congress have something to say about that? I don't know. But that's what they like. And how do you turn that into a book that would be interesting to them? Let me make this point even more clear. I find Jamie Raskin to be an excellent member of Congress because of his intellect, his thoughtfulness, how he interacts with complex issues, how he prescribes solutions to problems, etc. Right? You can put that into a textual form that's really fascinating if that's what you like Jamie Raskin for. You can't put entertaining MAGA stunts in a book. And that's why her followers don't have any interest in the book. They just like her for this stuff, not for her thoughts on American politics in a really, a less riveting form, which is reading it in a book. So here's another example of why MAGA likes her for some reason.
State. And I want to tell you something else. For you to say there were no dead voters in Georgia, there was thousands of dead voters in Georgia. And then the other thing is you have constantly shilled for this election, and I'm going to tell you, there was blatant, outright fraud in the 2020 election. Complete and total fraud, and you know it. You absolutely do know it. And I'm going to follow up with one more thing. Trump won Georgia. I know you don't like for me to say that, but I am convinced that he did. I'm born and raised in Georgia, lived there all my life, campaigned all over the state in the 2020 election. And to come in here for the Election Integrity Caucus and for you to be on the panel, it's actually...
Yeah, so reprimanding a Georgia election official is why MAGA gets excited, why she gets interviews so that she can spew more of this nonsense. And you can't put political stunts and confrontations, you can't put this service to the personality cult into a book. And so MAGA's not interested in it, and so it's failing hard. And very interesting there, and embarrassing for MTG. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments. If you want to get the extra episode of the show daily, you can do so by clicking that join button below.